People ask me, what do you do as an athletic trainer? The first thing you really get from people is they think that you're a personal trainer, which is farthest from the truth. Think of a hospital, think of a healthcare facility placed in an elite sports performance environment, and we manage it.
I think a good athletic training staff is definitely a competitive advantage for a team. If you can keep your best players on the field without the aches and pains, performing at a high level, I think that does make a difference in winning football games.
And Dalton in the fourth down.
Donald gets him. Aaron Donald cleans up.
Looks like Darrell Henderson is down. He looks like he's hurt.
Most of the time when people see athletic trainers, they see the people running out there onto the field when a player gets hurt. That's about the coverage that we get or the view that we get. A lot of our stuff is behind the scenes.
We are essentially the frontline workers to our athletes when it comes to injury prevention, treatment, and the overall health and well-being.
Everything from somebody getting sick to the COVID protocols and a lot of the COVID procedures we're doing, to a guy having a lateral ankle sprain, you name it, we are the hub for the healthcare for that athlete.
Availability is winnability. Everyone has elite talent on their teams. It's just a matter of which players are available when you are able to play, when you are able to compete. And for us, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Our standards are high when it comes to that stuff.
Call it our sports performance and sports medicine department, which consists of sports medicine aspect of it, the medical. We built out our sports science hub, got a rehabilitation hub, strength and conditioning, nutrition, and even player engagement, looking at from the mental health clinician perspective, looking at from obviously a wellness perspective, along with some analytics that we get from some of our data analytics department. That all hubs under the sports performance and sports medicine. They all work in unison together to make sure that we're optimizing care.
It does take all those components. It's not just one thing versus the other. We're not siloed into different rooms because there's a lot of crossover. There has to be a lot of communication with all of us to be able to put the player in the best position possible to perform at the most elite level.
Because a lot of times it's not about just treating the actual injury, it's really treating the athlete from a holistic approach.
Four-man Giants rush. Stafford looking sideline. It's the running back, Henderson. He's got it. Beating Tay Crowder for the touchdown.
So PFAT stands for Professional Football Athletic Trainers Society.
It's really a way for us to unify 32 different clubs and 32 different staffs of athletic trainers to make sure that we're providing the most cutting edge and highest quality medical care for our players.
I think what PFAS brings to the NFL is a couple of things. Number one, how we want to optimize our player health and safety. We lean on them for any evidence-based practice that they can give us from the top down, and I think they lean on us from what I call in the trenches, that applied sports medicine that we do at our club level, we can push to them and let them know about. I think the other big area is just all of our committees, all of our NFL affiliate committees, all of our research committees that we work with in collaboration to continue to advance sports medicine. And then there's a lot of different task force initiatives that PFAS members are leads and chairs of. Prime examples like the Lower Extremity Task Force, where we continue to look at lower extremity injuries and how we can reduce those soft tissue injuries. A lot of innovation has come from clinical application of athletic training in the trenches. For example, when we looked at shoe wear over the last 10 to 15 years, looking at various injuries that happen because the shoes might have been too narrow, or maybe some of the lasts not been too firm enough. Now we're looking at better shoe wear. You got shoe charts, looking at coefficient of friction between shoes and turf. Everything we try to push through PFAS is at the end of the day very player-centric. We want to optimize our players' health and safety throughout the year. I think what's awesome about Sleep Number and the relationship with PFAS is we're both in alignment when it comes to science and the evidence, optimizing player care and performance, and really doing what's best for the athlete. They had that same mantra. They want to provide great research, technology, and innovative apps to help support and provide great sleep for athletes. And it's really been cool to partner with them to make sure that we give our guys the ability to stay on the field and play at a high level.
Buccaneers have a second Super Bowl title in franchise history.
How about that? I think the biggest misconception about our jobs as athletic trainers is that when the season ends, we go on vacation. And that's just not the case. Our office never really closes.
You have the combine where you're assessing all the new collegiate players that are eligible for the draft.
Our job is to help support our scouts and support the medical staff by providing medical grades for all the collegiate athletes and draftable players.
Performing a full medical analysis of how they fit into your team, what type of injury histories they have that you might have to watch out for as they come to your team. Then you have the off season, which is broken up into multiple phases: physical preparation, on-field team activities.
You know, a lot of players, they spend the off season trying to be better. They work out, you post all these videos on Instagram and all this stuff that's trying to be better. And I think the same goes for us, because if that's the standard that they set, I think we have to set the same standard. Try and give everyone the best chance. And that's exhausting all options, whether it's nutrition, recovery, the healthcare, whether it's corrective exercise, whether it's strength and conditioning, all that stuff is available to everyone. We want to create this kind of inviting environment for them to want to get better, as opposed to have the stigma, you know, you're in the training room, that means you're hurt or you're injured. We have a saying is that you don't have to get sick to get better. For us, it's building good habits that carry over to the future, into the season.
And then you have a break, and then you kind of go into phase 2, which is training camp.
You know, that's, go time, right? This is now. It's the tactical side and the performance side, meshing, when football becomes the main thing. So during the offseason, I would say performance is kind of our opportunity to shine. But then during the season, that's when football takes over. That's when, we're here more so for support.
And then you go into phase 3, which is in season.
In-season, week-to-week management is looking at acute injuries and finding out, can you aggressively get them prepared for the next week? Can I protect them with tape, with a brace? Can they go out there and do their job at a high level? And also, too, long-term, is this gonna, put this guy at risk for long-term injury? So there's a lot more that week-to-week that we have to be really smart about. And that's not easy. When you got players like these guys that really want to get on the field, you got coaches that obviously want their best players available and any of their players available, and we're kind of stuck in the middle of that puzzle to give our guys opportunity to be successful.
He's got to change their mindset.
That's Robert Woods on a pitch from his receiver spot. Woods, and that's a Rams touchdown into the end zone.
Athletic trainer's main role on game days is, number one, just observation. Observation, seeing if a player is in distress, seeing if an injury occurs, seeing how they're handling the management of a game. So you're constantly reassessing what's happening in real time, but also ready to activate any protocols if an injury does happen.
These players go out there and they give it their all. The number one thing that players have to be engaged with is recovery of their bodies.
There's some really incredible things that we're doing from a sports science perspective that I feel like gives us a competitive advantage.
One of the things that we've had great success with is called blood flow restriction training. And what that allows us to do is we're hacking physiology by manipulating the blood flow that goes into a certain area that you're exercising. Doing a knee extension with a 5-pound weight feels like you're doing it with 50. So what that allows us to do is to load the muscle at a lower weight, but still get the physiological effects of moving heavy weight.
I think we try to use a lot of technology to measure what we can't understand, because we always say we can't improve what we can't measure. So it gives us another layer of understanding that can help us make a more accurate or informed decision. As PFAS, we have a partnership with Sleep Number, and Sleep Number has some technology that's intertwined within their beds that can actually measure with an application on players' phones of how much and how well they sleep. So just knowing that can allow a player to say, hey, I've been getting 5 hours of sleep, here I got 8 and I performed better. So they can start utilizing some of that data or some of those metrics to then understand when they perform at their best, when they don't, when they recover, when they don't.
Science has shown that when you do get into deeper phases of sleep, the REM sleep, that's your body actually healing itself and recovering and actually getting back to equilibrium.
I think all the other modalities we use are trying to plug in the gaps of what happens when they don't sleep.
When you look at all the evidence, there's nothing better than sleep. I mean, that's our number one recovery strategy. And I think one of the cool thing about Sleep Number is instant feedback. When you get instant feedback, or we call buy-in feedback, you get a response and you start getting self-administering care. You get quality sleep, you get a response from the app telling you that you got quality sleep, then you have a successful outcome throughout that day where you actually felt better, you performed better. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna jump in bed a little earlier, I'm gonna do a little bit more. And once you start getting that cycle going, sky's the limit.
I think people don't understand the time and effort that goes into it. And that's people closest to me included. I have family that still ask, you're not coming home for Christmas? No, Mom, I'm not coming home for Christmas. especially at football games.
This is a job where you have to love what you do. We work 70 hours a week. We sacrifice. We work behind the scenes. It's kind of a thankless job at times. But at the end of the day, it's about being a natural caregiver to your athletes. When they succeed, we succeed.
I love people. I love people. I love being around people. Having the opportunity to be around elite athletes and having relationships with them, helping them get better, helping them get back on the field.
The most satisfying part of my job is working with the player coming back from an injury, and after a game where they come up and they thank you after the game and they say that this is because of you, that they're back on this football field because of you. It's one of the most rewarding things that any athletic trainer can receive as a compliment.
Helping them bridge that gap and getting them back to what they love and seeing them succeed back on the field, that's why people become an athletic trainer.
We have a motto on the top of the training room says mind, body, spirit. And those are the three components of rehabilitation for the human. And I think as long as you take the approach of treating the human first, everything else takes care of itself.